Hey everybody, welcome back to Sip&Talk. I'm Joe. And as always, I'm ready to dive into some seriously juicy info with you all today. It's like we're mixing up a knowledge cocktail here. Strong stuff, but oh, so smooth going down.
And I'm Sunny, your friendly neighborhood fact checker. I'll make sure we get all the ingredients right. Speaking of mixing things up, you know it's always a good blend? Travel whiskey and discovering awesome new things. You have to check out our friend Mickey's YouTube channel, Mickey to Life.
Yeah, Mickey's the best. He's always got something cool going on.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to Sip&Talk. I am so glad you could join us today. How are you doing today, by the way?
I am doing great, honestly. Just got my coffee here, and I'm super ready to get into today's topic.
Awesome. Well, hello to all of you, our fellow Sip&Talkers out there. We have got a really wild one today. So lately, our inbox has been absolutely flooded with, basically SOS messages from our listeners over in Taiwan.
Oh, yeah, it has been nonstop.
Right. Everyone is agonizing over this one specific question. They are all asking, why is the government suddenly going crazy and chopping down all the street trees?
Yeah, people are saying that stepping outside right now feels like walking directly into a pizza oven.
Literally. It is just brutal heat. But the craziest part, I actually saw this wild urban legend floating around online a few days ago.
Oh, boy, I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, so people are legitimately convinced that the government is clear-cutting these massive neighborhood trees to prevent enemy drones from using the canopy for reconnaissance. They want a clear line of sight to the sky.
It is so bizarre.
Right. So I need you to use your calm, analytical brain here. Can you please debunk this? What is this crazy political sci-fi movie plot we are looking at?
Well, I strongly advise you to just log off those weird internet message boards for a bit.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Because the whole drone surveillance theory, the Taipei city government actually just came out and aggressively crushed that rumor.
Really? Just shut it down completely?
Completely. It is an illegal fear-mongering rumor. In fact, it actually violates their Social Order Maintenance Act.
Oh, wow. So you can actually get in trouble for spreading that.
Exactly. And from a purely tactical standpoint, it is physically nonsensical. The airspace over a major metropolitan area like Taipei is already heavily restricted.
Right, that makes sense.
Plus, if you look at the actual forestry data we got, statistically, less than 2% of Taipei is estimated. I think it is over 170,000 street trees. Less than 2% are even scheduled for removal.
Okay, wait, hold on a second. Because if it is not the drone thing, then what about the money?
The money.
Yeah, I was flipping through some posts and people were saying the government is spending 60,000 new Taiwan dollars just to decapitate a single tree. Is this like some sort of government bounty system?
Okay, yeah, I saw those posts too. And that is a classic total misreading of the law.
Wait, really? It is not a bounty?
No, not at all. That 60,000 to 70,000 NTD figure, that is actually the penalty fine that gets slapped on anyone who illegally damages or kills a protected tree.
Oh, so it is a punishment.
Exactly. It is a fine, not some budget payout for contractors. The actual cost to legally remove a tree just covers the basics, like, the crane rental, basic labor, traffic control. There is no lucrative bounty hunting ring for green giants going on.
Okay, well, that definitely clears up the whole misinformation cloud. But that still leaves us with the big question. If it is not a covert drone war, and it is not a corrupt cash grab, why are these trees actually disappearing?
Right. Well, it all traces back to this really noble government initiative that basically just backfired on nature.
Noble how?
So the central government over there, specifically through their National Land Management Agency, is making this massive budget push to fix Taiwan's reputation as a quote-unquote pedestrian hell.
Yeah, I have heard that term used a lot.
Yeah. So they are spending all this money to widen sidewalks, build barrier-free pathways, make it safe for strollers, wheelchairs, the elderly.
Which is great. But wait, so to make the pavement flat for a wheelchair, we're basically evicting the giant trees that provide the natural shade.
Pretty much.
That feels like treating the symptom but killing the patient.
It does feel like that, yeah. But you have to look at the structural reality, the historical urban debt here.
What do you mean by historical debt?
Well, decades ago, planners planted these street trees in these tiny, suffocating concrete tree pits.
Oh, I see.
It is essentially forcing a tree to wear shoes that are 3 sizes too small.
That sounds awful for the tree.
It is. Because to breathe, since they are trapped under a solid slab of asphalt, the roots have to grow sideways right under the surface to find oxygen.
Right, they're just trying to survive.
Exactly. And over time, those shallow roots grow thick, they destroy the pavement, and they create these massive, jagged tripping hazards.
Okay, so the local government is just totally backed into a corner, like keep the shade or make the sidewalk accessible for an elderly person.
You nailed it. That is the exact policy clash.
But why do these specific trees destroy the pavement so badly? I mean, we have street trees here in the U.S. that don't always do that.
Right. Well, it turns out they invited the wrong trees to the city in the first place.
Oh, really? Like invasive species?
Sort of. Early urban planners prioritized these really fast-growing, non-native species because they wanted to green the city up quickly. We are talking about things like the blackboard tree, Alstonia scalaris, and the Madagascar almond.
Okay, so fast and cheap.
Fast, cheap, and they have incredibly aggressive, shallow root systems. Plus, their wood is notoriously brittle.
Oh, brittle wood in a place that gets typhoons. That sounds like a disaster.
It is. Add extreme weather to the mix, and it is a safety crisis. I mean, Typhoon Kongray recently blew down over 2,800 trees.
Wow, over 2,000.
Yeah. And to make matters worse, many of these mature trees are secretly dying from something arborists call brown root rot.
Wait, I read about that. It is basically like tree cancer.
Yeah, it is exactly what it is. It is a fungal pathogen that decays the structural anchoring roots deep underground.
So the tree looks totally fine on top.
Exactly. The leaves are green, it looks healthy, but underneath, the anchor is just rotted to mush.
That is terrifying. A stiff breeze could just push it right over onto a passing car.
And that brings in a massive bureaucratic fear. State liability, or national compensation, as they call it.
The lawsuits.
Yep. If a rotten tree falls and hurts a citizen, the local government pays the price. So preemptive removal, or heavy pruning, becomes this basic bureaucratic safety mechanism.
Man, I get the safety first excuse. I really do. But citizens are furious. The tree protection groups are practically in firefighting mode right now.
They are, and I totally understand why.
Because they are arguing that replacing these massive, beautiful canopies with, like, artificial sunshades is just absurd when you look at the worsening urban heat island effect.
It is a massive loss of natural cooling, absolutely.
But the government promised to move the trees, right, to these tree banks.
They did, but it is kind of an illusion. Ripping a massive tree out of a concrete pit means severing a huge portion of its root ball.
Ouch.
Yeah, and because of poor habitats and a lack of long-term care in these holding fields, activists are pointing out that these banks often just turn into tree graveyards.
That is so depressing. And what about the ones they leave behind? I was looking at some photos of the trees that just get pruned, and they look completely decapitated. It is horrifying.
Yeah, that is a practice called topping. The workers essentially chop the crowns completely flat just to save time and reduce the wind profile before a typhoon.
But does that even work?
Biologically.
Yeah.
No, it makes it worse. When you cut all the leaves off, you starve the tree, it panics and pushes out these weak emergency branches called water sprouts.
Right, those spindly ones that shoot straight up from the cut.
Exactly. And because they are only attached to the outer bark, not the strong inner wood, they're actually way more likely to snap and become projectiles in the next storm.
So they are literally creating a vicious cycle of danger while trying to prevent it.
Precisely. The wound rots, the new branches snap. It is a mess.
You know, it is funny, because this friction between concrete and canopy isn't just a Taiwan issue. We wrestle with this exact same thing back home.
100%. Our cities deal with this constantly.
But over the last couple of decades, we have really shifted our approach in the States. Like, we don't treat trees as just nice decorations anymore. We formally classify them as green infrastructure.
Yes, which I love. We finally realized our environmental infrastructure needs the same strategic planning as, like, a major highway bill, or when Washington pushes something massive like the CHIP-ES Act.
Exactly. But to get the budget from city councils, we had to start speaking the language of economics. That is where the U.S. Forest Service comes in with software like iTree.
iTree is brilliant.
It really is. It puts a literal dollar value on a tree's ability to cool the air, absorb stormwater, and reduce energy bills for the buildings next to it.
It totally changes the conversation. Suddenly, our city planners aren't looking at an oak tree as a maintenance liability. They see an asset that pays annual dividends.
And because of that, we rely heavily on certified arborists to make pruning decisions, not just a random construction crew with a chainsaw.
Right. And if we look at how other regions handle it, it is fascinating. Like Europe, they have a totally different model.
Yeah, they treat their centuries-old trees almost like citizens.
They really do. The legal protections are incredibly strict. They lean heavily into what they call sponge city designs.
Sponge city, like making the ground absorb water.
Exactly. Instead of isolated concrete pits, they use suspended pavement systems that hold up the sidewalk but leave massive volumes of uncompacted soil underneath.
That is so smart.
Yeah.
So the roots have room to stretch out without ruining the pavement.
Yeah. And then you look at Japan. They deal with typhoons that are just as brutal, but they focus heavily on meticulous, highly disciplined disaster prevention pruning.
Right. I read about that. They don't do that awful topping thing. They carefully thin out the inner branches so the high-speed winds just blow straight through the canopy like a sieve.
It is master-level pruning. It saves the tree's structure and prevents the rotting.
So the solutions clearly exist globally. How does Taiwan adopt these international best practices and finally end this tree chopping era?
It comes down to proactive infrastructure. They need to start designing continuous, permeable tree trenches before they ever pour the concrete.
So the roots can grow deep right from the start.
Exactly. Fix the structural cause instead of punishing the tree for surviving.
Okay, but here is a question. Let's say a tree absolutely must come down, like it has that brown root rot. It is a total public safety hazard.
Right. Sometimes it is unavoidable.
Does it just go to a landfill? I mean, that feels like such a waste of carbon.
Historically, yes.
Right.
But there's actually a really incredible silver lining happening right now with the circular economy.
Oh, do tell.
There are organizations like the Wood Island Initiative over there that are rescuing this chalk street wood.
Wait, really? Rescuing it to do what?
They take these felled trees and give them a second life. They turn them into bespoke furniture or public art installations.
So that beautiful tree that used to shade your block could literally become a dining table. That is amazing.
It is. And for the wood that isn't good for furniture, they process it into something called biochar.
Biochar. What is that?
They essentially bake the wood in a high-heat, oxygen-deprived environment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that stops the carbon from burning off as CO2. It turns the wood into this stable carbon that can be mixed into soil to help plants grow. So the carbon stays locked away, and the tree continues to serve the city.
I love that. That is such a smart, practical solution. So, to wrap this all up for everyone listening today, this whole tree chopping thing is not a malicious political conspiracy.
Definitely not.
It is a really messy, complex intersection of public safety, deeply flawed historical urban planning, and obviously this urgent need for ecological preservation. We really need transparency right now, not panic.
I completely agree. And it leaves us with something really provocative to think about, I think.
Yeah. What is that?
Well, if the true livability of a modern city is measured by the size and health of its canopy, we have to ask ourselves, are we ultimately building our cities for cars and for perfectly flat concrete? Or are we building them for the humans and the nature that actually have to breathe in them?
Wow. That is a really great point to mull over the next time you are out looking for some shade.
Absolutely.
Well, to all our Sip&Talkers out there, I want to cheerfully remind you to always think critically about what you see online, stay curious, and be sure to subscribe to the Sip&Talk podcast so you never miss out on these conversations.
Yes, definitely hit that subscribe button.
And before we go, you guys have to check out our good friend Mickey's YouTube channel. It is called Mickey to Life. He just dropped a brand new travel vlog, and his stuff is always fantastic.
Yeah, his videos are great. You don't want to miss it.
Totally. All right, everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Stay cool, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everyone.